Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into, well, a truly fascinating and often quite surprising set of sources. We're looking at excerpts from Jacob's Progeny and Prosperity, specifically found in Genesis chapter 30. And we're using the 21st century King James Version for this.
Right. It's a good choice because it keeps that rich, sort of classic language of the King James, but updates it just enough for readability, makes these old texts really accessible for, a deep dive like this.
Exactly. And our mission today is to unpack this ancient tale. It's just packed with intense family rivalry, some honestly astonishing strategies for reproduction.
Oh, absolutely.
And one of the most unconventional business deals you might ever come across. It's a story that I think reveals so much about human nature, ambition, and that timeless pursuit of prosperity.
Indeed. And we're going to look beyond just the events themselves. We want to get into the motivations, the implications, what these actions really meant to the people back then.
Right.
And why they still matter.
Yeah.
They offer these incredible insights into desperation, ingenuity, and like you said, a very peculiar path to immense wealth.
Definitely. So get ready to dive deep. This story is anything but dry. Let's unpack this.
Okay.
So let's jump right into this intense family drama. At its core, it's Jacob and his two wives, Leah and Rachel, and their primary struggle really is about who's going to bear children for Jacob. And this wasn't just, a personal wish. In that ancient world, a woman's status, her worth, it was deeply tied to having children, especially sons.
Absolutely. And the text doesn't waste any time showing Rachel's profound distress. She's barren, and her anguish is just raw. She actually demands of Jacob, give me children or else I die.
Wow, that's an ultimatum.
It really is. It highlights the immense cultural pressure, yes, but also just her personal despair.
But Jacob's reaction, it's not exactly sympathetic, is it?
Not at all. He snaps back, basically saying, am I God? Can I give you children when God hasn't?
Am I in God's stead, who hath withheld from thee the fruit of the womb? Yeah, it's harsh.
It is. And that stark, almost accusatory answer, it really sets the stage for the unusual solutions that come next.
Right. Desperate times, desperate measures, maybe?
Exactly. So both Rachel and Leah turn to a practice common then, though maybe startling to us now, using their maidservants as surrogates.
Okay.
Rachel goes first. She gives her maid, Bilhah, to Jacob.
Right.
And Bilhah has a son. Rachel names him Dan, saying, God hath judged me and hath given me a son. The name Dan literally means judging.
So she sees it as vindication from God.
Precisely. Then Bilhah concedes again, has a second son.
Okay.
Rachel names this one Naphtali, declaring, with great wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed.
Naphtali. My wrestling. Wow, she's not subtle about the competition, is she?
Not at all. It lays bare that fierce rivalry. This was a raw public struggle for dignity, for legacy.
So Leah sees this happening, sees she's stopped having children herself. And she does the same thing, right? She gives her maid, Zilpah, to Jacob.
Quickly follows suit, yes. Zilpah bears a son, and Leah names him Gad, exclaiming, a troop cometh.
Gad, meaning a troop or company, like she's building her team in this family contest.
Sort of, yeah. Then Zilpah has a second son, Asher, and Leah says, happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed.
Asher, meaning happy. You can really hear her longing for recognition, for blessing in that name.
Definitely. But then the rivalry just escalates dramatically.
The mandrake incident.
Yes. Reuben, Leah's oldest son, finds mandrakes in the field.
And these weren't just any plants, right? They had a reputation.
A huge reputation. Mandrakes, with those distinctive forked roots, they were deeply embedded in folklore, often seen as powerful aphrodisiacs or, critically here, fertility charms.
Okay, so Reuben finds them, brings them to Leah.
And Rachel, desperate, asks Leah for some.
And Leah's response is sharp, incredibly sharp.
It really is. She bites back, is it a small matter that thou hast taken my husband? And wouldest thou take away my son's mandrakes also?
Oof, that lays it all out there. The pain, the competition over Jacob himself, not just the children.
Exactly. It shows the resentment had been simmering for a long time.
So Rachel, still desperate, makes this extraordinary bargain.
Truly extraordinary. She basically says, okay, fine. He can sleep with you tonight in exchange for some of your son's mandrakes.
Trading Jacob's time for these plants believed to help fertility.
Wow, it shows the lengths she was willing to go to.
And Leah.
Yeah.
She jumps on this chance, right?
Immediately. She confronts Jacob when he comes in from the field that evening, announces, Thou must come in unto me, for surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrakes.
She hired him
Right.
using that language.
Yes. And the text says he did lie with her that night.
And then it seems to work. Or at least something changes.
Well, the text says God hearkened to Leah. She starts having children again, which must have felt like a massive turnaround for her.
Incredible. Who are the next children?
First, Issachar. Leah names him, saying, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband.
Issachar, a hire. Directly referencing the mandrake deal.
Exactly. Then she bears Zebulun. She names him, saying, God hath endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons.
Zebulun meaning dwelling. You can hear her hope there that maybe now Jacob will truly connect with her.
A deep longing for that connection, yes. And finally, she bears a daughter, Dinah.
Dinah meaning judgment.
Mm-hmm.
So after all this, Leah has 6 sons and a daughter, plus the 2 sons through her maid. Rachel has the 2 sons through her maid. But what about Rachel herself?
Well, after all this, the narrative tells us God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her and opened her womb.
Finally.
Finally. She conceives and bears a son, Joseph.
Joseph, a huge name in the stories to come.
Absolutely. And Rachel declares, God hath taken away my reproach, the shame of her barrenness. And she also expresses a wish, the Lord shall add to me another son, which is literally what the name Joseph means, adding.
A profound turning point for her after such a long, agonizing struggle.
A huge relief, certainly.
So, okay, the family is now quite large, lots of sons.
Very large. 12 sons plus Dinah.
And the narrative shifts focus, doesn't it, to Jacob wanting independence.
Yes. After Joseph's birth, Jacob goes to Laban, his father-in-law, and says, basically, I've served you long enough, I want to go home.
Back to his own country with his wives and children, he points out his long service.
But Laban is, let's say, shrewd. He knows Jacob's been good for business.
Right.
He says, look, I've learned by experience, or maybe divination, the text is a bit ambiguous, that the Lord has blessed me for thy sake.
So he doesn't want Jacob to leave.
No. He asks Jacob to name his wages. Stay on, what do you want?
And Jacob lays out his case, right? How loyal he's been, how Laban's flocks grew massively under his care.
From very little to a multitude, and how God blessed Laban because of him.
And then he asks that key question, and now, when shall I provide for my own house also? He wants to build his own wealth, his own legacy.
Exactly. And this leads to, well, here's where it gets really interesting. Jacob proposes this incredibly unconventional wage agreement.
Okay, I'm listening.
He tells Laban, thou shalt not give me anything.
Nothing.
Not from the existing flocks, no. Instead, his payment will be all future offspring that are speckled and spotted among the goats, and all the brown ones among the sheep.
So basically, the ones that look different, the genetic oddities, almost.
That's how it sounds initially, yes.
Yeah.
He's asking for the non-standard animals born from now on.
And he suggests splitting the flocks immediately.
Yes. A very clever move. He says, let's separate them today. You take all the currently speckled, spotted brown animals out of the flock.
So there's no confusion later about which animals are his payment.
Exactly. He says it will prove his righteousness, his honesty in the deal. No way Laban can accuse him of taking existing marked animals later. It's quite brilliant, really.
Wow, okay. And Laban agrees.
He does. He says, behold, it might be according to thy word. Seems fair enough to him, perhaps. And he acts fast. Removes all those marked animals, the ring-streaked, spotted goats, anything with white on it, all the brown sheep.
Gives them to his own sons.
And puts a 3-day journey's distance between his sons' flocks, the marked ones, and the flock Jacob is now managing, the unmarked ones.
Okay, so Jacob is left managing Laban's plain animals, and his deal is only the marked offspring born from these plain animals will be his wages.
Correct. Seems like a tough deal for Jacob, doesn't it? How do you get speckled goats from plain goats?
Yeah, how does he do it? This is the really fascinating part.
It is. The sources describe Jacob taking fresh rods, branches of green poplar, hazel, and chestnut.
Okay.
And then he peels white streaks into them, like making stripes by revealing the lighter loot underneath.
Right, creating these visually distinct patterned rods.
Exactly. Then he places these peeled rods in the watering troughs, specifically where the flocks come to drink, and crucially, where they often mate.
So the idea is, what? That seeing the rods influences the offspring.
That seems to be the implication. The text says he put them there so they should conceive when they came to drink. And then the flocks conceived before the rods and brought forth animals ring-streaked, speckled, and spotted.
Wow. So it's like visual imprinting affecting genetics. Or maybe sympathetic magic.
It certainly taps into ancient beliefs about maternal impressions or sympathetic magic, yeah. The idea that what the mother sees or experiences during conception or pregnancy could influence the offspring's appearance. It's a pre-scientific view of heredity, but utterly fascinating.
But there's more to it, isn't there? He doesn't just put the rods out for all the animals.
No, and this is a crucial strategic detail. The text says, "Whensoever the stronger animals conceived, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the animals, that they might conceive among the rods.
Okay, so he uses the rods with the strong animals.
But when the animals were feeble, he put them not in."
So the weaker offspring, born without the rod influence, would presumably be plain.
And therefore remain Laban's, while the stronger animals, influenced by the rods, produced the speckled and spotted offspring.
Which belonged to Jacob.
Exactly. So the feeblers were Laban's and the stronger Jacob's. He wasn't just relying on chance or magic. He was actively employing a selective breeding strategy, ensuring his flock got the strong ones.
That is incredibly clever, combining ancient belief with shrewd animal husbandry.
It really is. And the outcome? Utterly decisive.
Let me guess. Jacob gets rich.
Extremely. The text says, "And the man increased exceedingly and had large flocks and maidservants and menservants and camels and asses."
So he became incredibly prosperous through this unique arrangement.
A blend of ingenuity, maybe tapping into those ancient beliefs, perhaps some divine favor hinted at earlier. It all came together.
What an incredible deep dive that was. We've gone from the really intense personal struggles of Jacob's wives.
That complex web of desire, rivalry, surrogacy, mandrakes.
Right, all these ingenious, sometimes desperate solutions for building a family. And then we pivot to Jacob's equally ingenious strategy for building immense wealth.
And perhaps divinely aided, as you say. It's a story where ancient customs, raw human emotion, and these really surprising tactics all just intertwine.
Yeah.
And this narrative, it really underscores how tightly linked family legacy and, well, economic well-being were back then.
Absolutely.
It shows remarkable human resourcefulness, whether it's driven by that desperate need for children or the ambition for independence and prosperity.
It also gives us a peek into a worldview where maybe the line between natural events, human cleverness, and divine action was, well, a bit more blurred than it is for us today.
Beautifully blurred, yeah.
So for you, thinking back on it, what really stands out, is it the raw emotion of Rachel and Leah's rivalry? The extreme lengths they went to?
That's definitely powerful, that mandrake scene.
Or is it Jacob's clever, almost, magical seeming method with the flocks, blurring that line between shrewd business and something more mystical?
Both are fascinating, and it raises, I think, an important question for you, the listener, to consider.
Go on.
In a story like this, where you have human cunning, you have desperate prayers, you have what looks like divine intervention, all seeming to play a role in how things turn out. What does that suggest about the pathways to blessings, to success, both back then and maybe even now?
That's a great question.
What does this ancient account tell us about the lengths people go to for family, for fortune, and, how much of that success is self-made versus something granted?
Lots to think about there. A fantastic place to leave our deep dive for today.